Hello everybody, and welcome back to Let's Play Gabriel Knight, the 20th Anniversary Edition. Last time, it was pretty much confirmed by a crash, but right before his death, unfortunate death, that the voodoo murders have been real voodoo, carried out by a real voodoo cult. This is what we've been suspecting all along, and of course the kitty has to come to my lap as soon as I start this. And yeah, his confirmation kind of sealed it, and his mysterious death is a bit worrisome. Anyway, we do have some news from Professor Hartridge, so let's go see him.
I'm out of here. Try not to...
Yes, we've heard it. I still like her sarcastic Alright, so the university is out this way, I believe. There we go. And he's not out here, so it's probably in his office. So let's go check that out.
There's a PA speaker on the wall.
Okay, nothing important there. Yo, Prof. Just thinking hard about
Hey,
something.
Hartridge, what's the good word? Hartridge? Ah! Oh God, not again.
Oh no. He looks to have died in the same way that Crash did, and that is not good. What have we gotten ourselves into? Anyway, let's look around the office while we have time.
It's an enormous stone head. Gabriel doesn't want to disturb Hartridge's treasures.
He does have some cool stuff in here, though.
Exotic fish lend even more color to the cluttered office.
You want me to talk to a fish?
Gabriel doesn't want to upset the fish. It's Hartridge's file cabinet.
Alright.
The filing cabinet is locked.
Well, shoot.
A wastebasket next to the desk is filled with crumpled paper. There's nothing of interest in the wastebasket.
Darn.
An old globe sits atop Hartridge's file cabinet. Gabriel fights the urge to give the globe a spin.
Yeah, may not be appropriate right now.
A round pottery vessel hangs from the ceiling. Gabriel doesn't want to disturb Hartridge.
Okay.
The shelves behind Hartridge's desk are full of old books. Gabriel's seen enough old books to last a lifetime.
Aw.
There must be something here about what Hartridge found out about that Veve.
Aw, we'll check that out in a sec.
The carved stone head looks African and is very old. The squatter grins maliciously at Gabriel.
Okay, not much else to look at here.
These look better.
Whatever Hartridge may have learned, he can't share it with Gabriel now. At least not vocally. That would be up to the coroner.
I'm not touching that body.
So yeah, we're not getting an up close of Partridge's body like we did with Crash.
This is a crime scene. Gabriel wants to disturb it as little as possible.
Damn, this is his notepad. But the top sheet's been taken.
Uh-oh.
There must be something here about what Hartridge found out about that Veve.
This is a crime scene.
Okay.
There must be something here.
So what can we do? If you wrote notes about what that Veve was, it would have been here and it might have been left an impression. So we can do this. don't know how much of it I have to fill out before it stops me.
Hartridge's notes. This must be about the Veve.
Oh, right. Awesome. So, yeah, let's get out of here. Okay, check this out. So, as soon as I exited out of that, my game crashed, so I reloaded it, went back to a checkpoint, and Hartridge is back to this position.
He's looked better.
And,
That would...
we can't move him again, but oh well, it doesn't matter. We, got what we came for. Okay. Anyway, before we head off, we need another destination. Now, if you might remember back at the Voodoo Museum. Oh, wait a minute. That's not what I wanted to click on. I wanted to click down here. Back at the Voodoo Museum, we picked up this flyer.
A flyer advertising Magenta Moonbeam, a local voodooienne. Her parlor is on the corner of Orleans and Dauphine.
Now, I believe if we tried to visit her any day but today, she just wouldn't have been there, so it would have been a waste of time. But we want to go there now. Did you see my cat sneeze? My cat sneezed all over me, like he loves to do. Actually, I think, did I just... Oh, there it is. The Moonbeam Residency. You might have seen this here and would wonder what it is. So she should be back now. Ah, there she is.
Welcome, Seeker. You must be the one Dr. John called me about.
I guess so. My name is...
Wait! Gabriel Knight.
You're too quick for me.
Actually, Dr. John told me. You have come to the right place, Mr. Knight. Tell me how I can help.
She does have a snake here.
A large, sluggish snake rests on the floor of the fancy bird cage. Apparently, Magenta is not a fastidious housekeeper. A shed skin shares the cage with its original owner.
Interesting. We can find out if she's involved, or at least her snake is, through the scales.
The shelf holds a variety of unusual objects. The kind of thing Gabriel refers to as junk.
Oh, I bet Gabriel refers to junk a lot.
The mask is made of carved wood and looks African.
It does look cool.
Gabriel figures that many men have picked up things in Magenta's parlor, but he'd rather not.
Oh my gosh, that is kind of gross.
There's a chest in the corner that looks like a carnival machine.
We'll leave that alone for now.
Magentia's bottles probably contain secret ritual concoctions. A large crystal ball is prominently displayed. It's a large cluster of quartz crystals. Gabriel figures that many...
Oh, okay.
Whatever they do, Gabriel isn't interested.
Alright, let's get to talking. Oh, let's look at her chair first.
An overstuffed red chair from the last century dominates the center of the room. Gabriel figures...
Okay, same thing.
Magenta Moonbeam is wrapped in gauze and silks. She looks vaguely mysterious and mysteriously vague.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Of course, Seeker.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
My practice is mainly selling charms and potions with magic power, such as gree-gree and voodoo oils. You know, everything from unrequited love to wandering spouses to winning a lawsuit. But my spells and charms are powerful, and they work.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Much of a voodooienne's work is protecting her clients from the spells of others. I make special protective gree-gree to be worn in secret. They keep evil spells from working against my clients.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
The recipes for voodoo charms have been handed down from master to apprentice for centuries.
Oh, so you were an apprentice, were you?
What can you tell me about voodoo?
I have told you all it is proper for you to know, Mr. Knight.
I'll decide what's proper for me to know.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Why, that has nothing to do with me and my clientele. But I can tell you that you should stay as far from it as possible. There is badness there. Very bad.
We'll see about that.
So you don't think the voodoo aspects of the case are fake?
Fake? Let me tell you about fake. If I get information through the grapevine and make use of it, is that fake? No. That is part of a voodooien's power. If people don't believe, there's not much I can do. But if they do believe, that is a part of my power too. But there are things, monsieur. Things not even a little bit fake, I can tell you. Believe it or not, but stay away from it.
If you say so.
What do you mean? Do you know something about the case?
I work hard on fine-tuning my spiritual antennae, Monsieur Knight. And I get a clear signal from that direction. Beware.
What can you tell me about Nolans?
Nolans is the center of voodoo practice in the United States.
What can you tell me about Nolans?
It is a fascinating city with many dark secrets.
What can you tell me about Nolans?
It is my favorite place in the world.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? You mean like my beloved Grimwald? She's a python, you know. Quite deadly in the wrong hands. I was trained by one of the great voodoo queens to learn how to hypnotize and handle snakes.
Were you involved in the murders? Was that Grimwald's scale we found?
Tell me more about snakes.
Oh, I wouldn't want to give away my trade secrets.
Alright.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve. It is the greatest night of the voodoo year. There is always a traditional conclave on St. John's Eve. Most of our voodoo churches these days hold functions in the church hall. But in the old days, they had ceremonies out in the wild. They wore animal masks and had a huge bonfire and dancing. I used to go when I was an apprentice. Sometimes in the swamp, you know, Bayou St. John. Sometimes at the lake, Lake Pontchartrain.
Yeah, we've heard about those places. Those are where the murders have been taking place.
Do you have any idea what Cabrice and Call means?
No, I don't.
I'm sure.
Do you know anything about Beve?
I don't know anything about that.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Oh yes, she was the first of the great voodoo queens.
Tell me about the animal masks.
I saw them used once or twice when I was younger, but you don't see them much anymore. They're too close.
Too close to what?
Just bad karma.
If you say so.
Do you know anything about a secret voodoo houndful?
There are many voodoo churches in Nolans, no?
Yes, but have you heard of a secret voodoo houndful?
Wherever did you hear such a ridiculous story? There is no such thing.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
It is the oldest, darkest heart of voodoo.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
There are some things it's better not to know about, Monsieur Knight.
Does Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Damballa?
I don't know anything about that.
You weren't trained very well if you don't know these things.
Have you ever heard the word Schattenjäger?
I don't know anything about that.
Tell me about yourself.
Yes? What would you like to hear?
How did you get into this business?
I trained in the voodoo arts for many years with the great Queen Tabitha.
Really? Who's she?
You have never heard of her? For shame. I can see you know little of the world of magic.
I'm beginning to get that impression, yes.
Yeah, but we're learning.
What kind of people come to see you?
Seekers after the truth, such as yourself.
Do you do anything else?
I'm a voodooian. That is plenty. It takes much spiritual effort.
How many voodooians are there?
No one knows exactly. Many practice in secret. There are probably hundreds. But of course, the level and the power of the voodooians differ greatly, depending on their training and natural gifts.
Interesting. I think we ran into one in the park just yesterday.
Tell me anything at all.
I haven't always lived in Nolans. I came here from Kansas as a young woman.
Interesting. Was that yesterday in the park? I don't remember.
Tell me anything at all.
I began studying voodoo more than 20 years ago. I'm well versed in the magical arts.
Tell me anything at all.
Many non-believers come to me. They are usually believers when they leave.
Tell me anything at all.
Dr. John sends me many seekers, such as yourself.
Tell me anything at all.
I am happy here with my clientele and my snake.
If Gabriel Knight told you to tell him anything at all, what would you tell him, folks? Leave a comment down below.
I can't think of anything.
Very well.
Dr. John tells me you're a voodoo practitioner of some kind.
Yes, I'm a voodooian, a voodoo priestess.
Nice place you've got here.
Thank you. For me, it's a sort of temple.
I can see that. Do you get many people in here on an average day?
Some days, the need for my power is greater than others. But I have many regular clients who would be lost without my vision, Mr. Knight.
I can imagine. That's a great-looking mask on the wall.
It's from Africa. A gift to me from Queen Tabitha.
Do you know Dr. John well?
Oh, yes. We are old friends. Those with gifts are often drawn together.
Dr. John has a gift, does he?
So let's say I came to you wanting to attract a woman. What would you advise?
I wouldn't think you have any trouble attracting women, Mr. Knight.
No, I guess I don't.
Ah.
So what advice do you give your clients?
I tell them to follow the light, be aware of the darkness, and always get expert spiritual advice from someone with the sight.
That's what I thought you'd say.
Pleasantly vague.
About Grimwald.
What about her?
Where did you get Grimwald?
She belonged to a traveling reptile show. She was being terribly mistreated, so I offered to buy her. She's named after a spirit guide I had once. The spirit Grimwald was a very powerful female snake priestess in Egyptian times.
Grimwald doesn't sound Egyptian.
I only know what the spirits tell me, monsieur. I am sure they know better than we.
Oh, I'm sure you use that excuse a lot.
How did you learn how to handle Grimwald?
I told you, a great voodoo queen taught me. She learned from Marie Laveau herself.
Uh-huh. Fascinating. Would you consider giving me one of Grimwald's scales?
No, I couldn't do that. You might do some gree-gree of your own, no? One must be very careful with such things. Hair clippings, nail parings, and snake scales.
Let's keep that in mind.
Are you sure you wouldn't consider giving me one of Grimwald's scales?
I told you, I couldn't do that.
Oh, too bad. Before we say show me.
Tell me anything at all.
You have to be careful when handling a snake. They're more delicate than they look.
I'll bet. Tell me anything at all.
Many people are afraid of snakes. Isn't that silly?
Totally.
I think it's silly.
Tell me anything at all.
Snakes shed their skins from time to time. You have to be especially careful of them when they're shedding.
I'll keep it in mind. Tell me anything at all.
Grimwald is very responsive to vibration. She doesn't recognize her name, but if I stomp 3 times, she looks right at me.
Let's keep that in mind.
How about showing me how you handle Grimwald?
Really? You would like to see me dance, perhaps?
That would be swell.
No
All
matter
right.
what you see, do not be frightened.
I'll give it my best shot.
I had a nickel for every time I've heard that. Wait, what? Alright. Oh, hey, buddy. Okay, so she's gonna be distracted. We want to quickly snag a scale for ourselves. She doesn't even notice us. She's just shaking her bum at us.
Gabriel grabs the shed snake skin while Magenta is otherwise occupied.
And while she's doing that, let's take a quick look at it.
Gabriel magnifies the shed skin from Magenta Moonbeam Snake. The snake scales are hued brown. They don't match the scales from Lake Pontchartrain.
So I guess Miss Moonbeam here is in the clear. And I can't move my mouse anymore while she's doing this.
There. Truly inspiring, isn't it?
That's certainly one word for it.
Wasn't much of a dance, but alright. I think there was one more.
Sir?
Greeting.
Give me an example of Gree-Gree.
All right. Here's an old one. Take a lodestone and some brimstone to a crossroads at midnight. Light the brimstone with a match. A spirit will come and give you advice in gambling.
Give me an example of Gree-Gree.
Here's an old hoodoo, Dr. Gree-Gree. Place a dime under your client's tongue. If the client is under a spell of any kind, the dime will turn black.
Huh.
Give me an example of Gree-Gree.
To send someone away, take a rotten egg and write that person's name on it 9 times. You can also write on it where you want to send that person to. Take it and throw it against his door at midnight.
Give me an example of Gree-Gree.
Here's a nasty one. To kill someone, get a sock or shoe that belongs to that person. Put graveyard dirt in it and bury it under their front steps.
Does that work?
I don't know. I never tried it.
Why would you advise anyone to do that?
Give me an example of Gree-Gree.
To ensure the safety of your child, cut a lock of its hair while it is still a baby and keep it with you. The child must have all its hair before it can die.
These are interesting.
They're very old. The Gree-Gree that I prepare is much more powerful, I can assure you. But I don't give out those secrets.
Alright, so that's actually not all we can do here. She, being a modern practitioner of voodoo, might understand this voodoo code that we got from the side of that mausoleum a while ago.
Do these symbols mean anything to you?
Ah, the voodoo code. It is very secret, yes. I studied it with my mentor, the great Queen Tabitha.
Really? Great. Can you tell me what it says?
I'm afraid I could never translate this code for an outsider such as yourself, Monsieur Knight.
Aw, that's too bad. But she does have this thing here.
It's impolite to mess with other people's stuff. Gabriel should wait until he's asked.
Can I ask about
Gabriel
it?
figures that many men have picked up things in Magenta's parlor, but he'd rather not.
So let's talk to her again.
Can I ask,
Sir,
are you sure you can't translate this for me?
as I said, it's a very secret code.
Surely you can see I'm trying to learn as much as I can here. How am I supposed to become an insider if you won't help me?
That's true, I suppose. Perhaps if the Loa were to grant you their approval,
How do I get that?
by using my Ask the Loa machine.
A machine?
Yes. A spirit guided me to it years ago in an antique store, and its guidance has never faltered. I trust it implicitly.
I see.
The spirits often work in mysterious ways, Mr. Knight. If you aren't willing to ask...
No, I'll ask. Let's see here.
Interesting. So as we can see, there are different symbols that mean to have different letters. Alright. So, not quite sure how this works exactly. I think we need just to get it to say trusted friend again. Let's get that back there. There we go. Oh, great. Come on. Okay, I had to skip a bit there, but I think I did it. Basically, what I did was I just went from the levers to left and right and hit all of them. And then whichever letters were not correct, I would go back, hit it until it was correct, go to the next letter, hit it until correct, go back to the end again, then keep doing that, and eventually it will get them all correct. So the only letter we're missing now is this green one. So trust, and there we go.
Well done, Mr. Knight. You have earned the Loa's approval.
Truly, it's an honor. Now, about that code.
Let me see. Well, some of it is nonsense, I'm afraid. Whoever wrote this wasn't very good.
That's all right. Just tell me what it says.
It starts with a D and J. Then... okay, this part makes sense. It says, Conclave tonight, bring... well, then there's more nonsense. F-W-E-T-K-A-S-H. The last bit might mean cash. Fresh cash? Doesn't make much sense.
That's okay. Thanks. DJ Conclave K-A-S-H. It's a start.
I'm happy I could help.
Well, if you were paying attention to Dr. Hartridge's lecture the other day, we saw what a wet cache is. It's a kind of whip. So saying a DJ, could that be Dr. John? Huh, perhaps he's involved in this. Let's go see him.
Well, I guess I'll be going now.
As you wish. Peace and harmony be yours.
Right.
I'm actually going to save right now for a very good reason. And let's head on over.
Why is it so dark in here? Dr. John? Hello? Uh-oh.